So this is about fear and how that translates into the loss of blessing. We're going to see that in this section. Numbers 22:1 says, "And the children of Israel journeyed and encamped in the plains of Moab beyond the Jordan across from Jericho." Now this is speaking in modern terms, across, meaning they're on the eastern side, and they're across from Jordan, okay? Beyond the Jordan in that plain. "And Balak the son of Zippor saw all that Israel had done to the Amorites." So he was excited, right? No, he's not excited. So Moab was very afraid of the people because there was a lot of them, and he's stressed out because of the children of Israel. So all of a sudden we've got, it's like, okay, where is this? What is this? Let's have a look and see. The plain that is describing is here just north. This is the Dead Sea to the south. That's the Jordan River going along there. And the area that I circled in red is roughly where they were. Some debate if they came on down into Zoar or not. That's very possible. We don't know. We do know that these lines fluctuated over time. They're constantly changing. It ended up actually being, the land of the Amorites ended up being all the way down near the bottom in that river you see there at the bottom, pretty substantial river, became the boundaries of the Amorites. But at this time, Israel had made it all the way to the Jordan River, but had not crossed the Jordan into the Promised Land. So they were camping. You see that big plain down there? It's a huge area. It's miles and miles and miles. And so they're on that nice, flat, fertile plain. It's beautiful there, by the way, trees, and the whole thing is surrounded by rivers on both sides, so that no matter where you are, take your animals or whatever and go to a river. So there's rivers flowing there. Neat place. So this is, it's interesting because Zoar, there in the center, is where Lot and his daughters fled. And then he has two children. They have two children by Lot, by incest, right? And so those two children, Moab and Ammon, these are roughly, once again, roughly, the area in yellow there is, they're both in yellow, aren't they? The northern one there is where roughly where the Ammonites were. The southern ones are where the Moabites were, just generally speaking. In this particular point, the map maker here had said that the Ammonites was along the top of the hills there, which they did for a long time. And the Moabites would even go below, even further to the south in the map. So again, this fluctuated. Just to give you a picture, over on the left there, see the arrow? That's where Jerusalem would be. Just to give you a mental picture of where it is. Galilee is just off the top of the map. I tried to squeeze it in there, but couldn't quite do it. And this tells the story of where the Moabites and the Ammonites came from. And that's important because you got to think about who they are and who they're standing against. It says, both the daughters of Lot were with child by their father. The first bore a son, and they call his name Moab. He is the father of the Moabites, so we don't have to guess who these people are. We know who they are. The Bible tells us who they are. The younger also bore a son, and his name is Ben-Ami. He is the father of the sons of Ammon, also called Ammonites, the Ammonites. Interesting, Moab, we know what Ab, right? Moab is actually more correct pronunciation. Ab is father, right? And so the word actually means mother's father. They're descendants of the mother's father, and incest. So we can see that in their name. So we can see it's a Torah prohibited relationship. And so the people from that, we know traditionally biblically are not a chosen, not a blessed line. There's a curse that goes with that. Okay, there's a Torah curse that goes with that. That curse can be overcome, of course, because Ruth was also a Moabite, right? And she ends up being in the lineage of Messiah. Ben-Ami means my people. It's like son. Ben is son. Ben-Ami is son of my people. Like, okay, I'm just trying to figure out, did the mom or Lot name this kid? It's like, it doesn't matter because they were both their people, right? I mean, it's incest. That's about as my people as you can get. But again, it's kind of a play on understanding who they are. So, I was thinking, it's like, yeah, I guess incest does create your people. It wouldn't create somebody who has no other DNA there to work with, is there? But again, it's not a blessed relationship, and that's important. Because this people today worship the God of Islam, okay, in this whole area. And so the nation stands up. They don't worship the God of the Bible. And so they're a constant thorn to Israel. And this ultimately is going to set up a battle in the not too distant future that the Bible describes as well, even in this portion. And we'll look at it. And this is part of the reason right here. When people are in fear, it's just not good. You know, it's not good for your enemies to be in fear unless they just want to run away. But if they're just there and in fear, it creates all kind of, discomfort. It's like, what are you doing? Just relax. Let's just live here. You live there, I'll live here. But if they're in constant fear, they can't just sit still. And I see that working in Israel when we're around some of the Palestinians, just the stress. They're just at their wits' end when they're around you. Moab is very afraid of the people because there's so many of them, distressed because of the children of Israel. And Moab says to the elders of Midian, this multitude, they're just going to lick us up, They're going to lick up everything around here like an ox, licking grass. So that was an interesting thing that they said, because look at the prophecies. This is the Exodus prophecy at the sea. As they came out, Moses sings, this is the song of Moses when they come out, and the prophecy is that they're supposed to have no problem with Edom, no problem with Moab. The chiefs of Edom are dismayed. Trembling seizes the leaders of Moab. Terror and dread upon them because of the greatness of your arm, O Yahweh. Okay, they are still as a stone. That's the prophecy. They're supposed to be just like, and it's okay if your enemy's just like frozen, scared. That's cool. That works. And you're supposed to be able to pass by. Israel is supposed to be able to just pass by them because they're going to be still. So that brings up this question. In today's portion, Moab is they've just been in a big battle with the Ammonites, and that's why the Moab is so afraid of them. It's like, they're in fear. And so what happened to this prophecy? Did it fail? This is based on fear once again, but what happened when Israel was in fear? They've been here before, and they were in fear. They've been in this very place before, standing at the Jordan and not crossing because they were in fear. Why did they lose that? Let's look. Spies bring back a bad report, right? They're standing there. Why didn't they go in? The spies said, the land in which we go in, the land just eats up people. I'm like, wait a minute. What? Where have we heard this language before? These people just lick up everything. They're being cursed with the exact same curse. In other words, the curse that they spoke about the land that Yahweh says is beautiful, perfect, this is land I've got for you. Now the world is speaking that curse, that same curse that they put out there is being spoken against Israel. They did, in fact, you don't read anything about Moab and Ammon as they came the first time because they stood aside, just like the prophecy said. But now things have changed. They refuse to go in. And the reality is Israel's not even supposed to be here. There would be no struggle with the Ammonites and the Moabites if they weren't there, if they were in the promised land where they had supposed to be, where Yahweh had told them to go, right? So, here they have spoken a curse against the land. That curse is coming back on them. Plus, they're now stuck in this place where the people can curse them because they're there. They shouldn't even be that. So here we are. We're stuck here on the edge, and Balak, this king we talked about, who's the son of Zippor, sends messengers to Bilam is actually how it's pronounced, ish. Said, behold, there's a people that came out of Egypt. They cover the face of the earth. They're staying right here next to me. Please come curse them. There's too many. If you'll come curse them, then I can strike them and I can drive them out of the land. I just need somebody to curse them, and you're the guy. So the safe passage still is a stone. All that's gone. So this is interesting because they had an opportunity, and sometimes we have these opportunities. Yahweh will open a door for us, and encourage us. Go there. I'm embarrassed. I'm afraid I can't say something to that person. Whatever it is, I can't do it. And instead of walking forward in peace, walking forward in the blessing, we end up frozen in the process. And in the process, that door goes away. It just goes away, because when we don't go through it, things are in order. And when we back away from his ordered things, now we're not in his order anymore. So it's still going to happen. It's just not going to be the pleasant experience that he had. If we would just walk forward in obedience to what we're supposed to be doing, it will be a meaningful experience. We will learn. It will be good. But as soon as I can't do, I know the Lord's want me to do that, but I can't do that. Of course, he don't ask you to do things you can't do. That's right. He asks us to do things we don't know we can do all the time. He asks us to do things that we don't feel like we can do.
That's right. Yes.
But he doesn't ask us things that we can't do, And so this is going to be a process, and just like with Israel, what's going to happen here is he's going to use this process. Okay, you want to stay here, and you've spoken curses. They're going to come back, because the curses is just the way it works. It's going to work the way it works. But in that process, you're going to learn who I am, and you're going to learn to trust me. We need to stop here and learn to trust me. We can stop here. Have you ever been just like, we're going to just stop here? It's like, I want to stop here. And it's like, okay. Well, while you're here, you're going to learn to trust me, because I'm going to get you where I want you to go. And by the way, I've got all the time in the world. We're just going to wait on you to learn to trust me. That's what Israel's going through here. And I think we've all sort of been through that. So the next time you're there, it's like, do I want to actually move forward, or how long do I want to stay here until I learn this lesson? And it's a faith lesson, inevitably. How long am I going to stand here until I learn to trust him? When am I going to let this anchor go? When am I going to let this fear go? When I let the fear go, then we can move forward. Amen? Amen.